So, hi everyone, I'm Dr. Shane, and this is a new series that I've started to kind of help support the Alley Makerspace and just general making and entrepreneurism on campus, right? And at large, right? Because this is being recorded, if you're watching the recording right now, and all of them will be recorded so other people can review them, because honestly, finding a time to get everyone available it's just never gonna work. And so I tried to come up with this nice, super zoomy way that we can dynamically show things and record things in a meaningful way. So we've got a couple cameras so you can see things close up, and we can watch them all later. So anyways, I can't remember exactly the name of the session, but the topic of it is learning new skills as a maker or an engineer, right? I find an engineer is just a maker that does math too, right? And makers can do math, but an engineer should be using math. And something that I wanted this to be the first workshop because it's the first part of making, right? The first part of making is learning a skill, right? And something that doesn't get talked about enough is the anxiety around making, right? I know that when I was in your shoes, I really, really, really wanted to do woodworking. That's what I wanted to do, and I did do woodworking. However, I was always anxious to start a project or go to that next step. Does anyone know why? You might fail, and I was too poor to buy more wood, right? That was always my problem. And so there's always that fear of failure, especially when you go up to, when you start a new skill. And so what I want to talk about today is how you go about, or at least the things that I look for when I start a new skill. And so I haven't introduced our special guest host. We've coordinated our outfits because we live together. So this is my beautiful wife, Sarah Oberloier, and she works at Chicken Tramper Ultralight Gear. And so she is what's your title? Are you the head seamstress now?
Yes, I'm the head seamstress and the office manager, coordinator, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so Sarah wears a lot of hats at Chicken Tramper. If you've ever been to, like the little bypass road in Hancock, and you see this, huh?
White Street?
Yeah, White Street, and you see the building with this big symbol on it. You guys, anyone seen this? Anyways, that's Chicken Tramper. And so Sarah is a very, very talented seamstress, and I, to date, am not. And so I thought that this would be a really great opportunity for me to show you how I'm learning a new skill and what I ask as I'm learning this skill. Yeah. And so real quick, I wanted to give Sarah the opportunity to talk about what she does as a head seamstress and what kinds of things happen at Chicken Tramper.
Okay, yeah. So at Chicken Tramper, we make these packs here. This is our main product. But then we also make water bottle sleeves that you can just put a water bottle in. These pouches, and then we have phone pouches that I didn't bring. Fanny packs, and then what we're going to learn today are the wallets, which is just every time we get a new employee, the first thing they learn is a wallet. It's simple.
So that's what she's going to show me today how to manufacture a wallet.
Yeah. So I'm the head seamstress, so I do all of the QCs on other employees' work, make sure they're
to spec.
Yeah, is nothing wrong with them and all the seams are straight. And then I am one of the 3 that make the backpacks. So this is my personal backpack. I made every single part of this. I actually made every single part of everything here. Yeah.
And, there's no classes at Tech that talk about backpack making specifically, but actually, so your bosses are Tech grads, right?
Yes. Yep. I think they were both mechanical engineering.
Yeah. And so I really like this because they were mechanical students that came out and, right, this is what they started prototyping. They were making them when they were students, right?
I think maybe the senior year, because the summer between graduation and his first job, he Austin, sorry, one of the co-founders, decided he wanted to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, and all of the packs he was finding just weren't right for him for various reasons, and if they were right, it was too heavy. So he wanted to design his own pack as an ultralight alternative. So.
And one thing before we actually get into the making and the meat of this is, as if I know Michigan Tech is an engineering school, and so I'm sorry that I am biased towards saying as an engineer, but when you are pursuing engineering endeavors, you could potentially not have the skills to make what you are engineering. However, I find, and I'm sure that you'll also say that you've found, that actually knowing how something is put together and that tactile feel of where you're going to have to put your hands on this machine, what crease you're able to get, all those, when you're informed of how it's going to get made, you can make a better product. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You can fix your machine if something happens, you know what to do. I honestly have to fix machines, I don't know, twice a week. So
yeah,
it's really important to know.
And also, having that skill in order to sew something is nice, because when you rip this, or when I rip out my pants, you have the ability to fix it, which is great.
I do, yeah.
Anyways, Sarah, you're going to be showing me how to sew. And full disclosure, I have sewn a little bit, but it's always been...
Tiny bit.
Huh?
Just a
tiny bit.
bit.
So it's been under Sarah's guidance. And I don't even know how much setup we have to do. I wanted to kind of go into this blind. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let Sarah start teaching me, because she's taught other employees at Chicken Tramper how to do this. I'm now going to be that learnee, and I'm just going to point out and kind of commentate on what I'm looking for when we're doing this. So Sarah, go ahead and start out and tell me where you would like me to be and what you'd like me to do.
You can just wherever you get a good view.
Okay.
So I didn't do anything yet, so we have to fill the bobbin, which I don't know what camera you have on.
No, we can see the bobbin.
The bobbin. So to do that, you need your thread, and I'm also going to teach you how to wind the machine. It does give instructions, but for the bobbin, you go around this exactly as it says, and then...
So it's not entirely visible, but I'm seeing that there's actually markings that are indicating this. I suspect that even if I were alone, those markings wouldn't be enough, but they kind of at least help you to remember.
Sure, and if you buy a sewing machine today, you can go on YouTube and find like hours worth of information on just that machine. So then you take this thread and put it through the little hole in the bobbin, and then through the center hole in the bobbin.
Yeah.
Just to give it a tight grip, and then you push it to click it in. And I don't know the speed on this, so.
Can we go slow? Because that's, anytime you're dealing, you have to be careful. Anytime you're dealing with any sort of moving machinery and learning a new skill, especially when you're starting out, you always want to try and go slow. Sarah can go fast. That said, you can't always go slow. Like if you have a table saw, you can't just go really slow, because what will happen is we'll start burning your wood. So the question you always want to ask, something I should step back from real quick, is the best way to learn a skill, not always the best, but most time the best way to learn is from a mentor, someone that has that skill. But be careful, because just because someone can do that skill doesn't mean they can teach, right? So be aware of that.
Okay, so now you would push the foot pedal down, and for winding the bobbin, going fast is fine. It's actually preferred, because then it
doesn't get tangled up.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm just gonna fill the bobbin. When it starts to like slow down, some machines will all like push it over, not all do. Take that, and are you able to put this?
I'm a little informed, but I'm going to ask an ignorant question. Don't we already have thread on this spool? And why do we have a second spool here?
Okay, yeah. So when you sew, there's a top thread and a bottom thread. You can just look at your clothes and tell that. So what happens when you sew is the needle punches down through the fabric and then it ties itself around the bottom thread. If you ever have like a thread and you pull it, you can definitely see that. But yeah, it just loops through and they kind of like interlock like that. And
so in order to get a strong stitch, it's better to have two separate threads interlocking.
Right. I actually have a sewing machine at home that only takes one, and it does like some weird knot underneath when it comes through.
But you can just like pull that out if it's not well restrained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is meant to be, and it works fine that way. So then, are you able to do this camera?
Of course.
Okay. So I don't know how well you can see it, but then you just set it in with the string going this way. Some of them have guides. It looks like this one doesn't. And then there's a tiny little hook right there that you want it to go under. And then you just pull it through. Bit of cut. And then you should be good.
So it's just left open like that. Like you don't have, like the thread doesn't get hooked to the needle in any way, shape, or form.
When you thread the top.
When you thread the top, that'll get.
So I can actually leave this cover undone.
Okay.
That might be helpful. So next, you just follow the rules here. So this one has a number 1. So I'm going to go under the number 1, around the number 2, and then you can see 3, 4, and then up around number 5, down through 6, which is a collar. And then this machine doesn't have it. Some machines are really nice where it threads the needle for you. This one doesn't look like that. So then there's a little collar here.
So I should also know.
You will absolutely need to like refer to a manual. Every machine is different.
Yeah, so Sarah's never used this specific machine before. So this is one of the machines that we have available at the Makerspace for everyone to use. What's nice in the Alley is we also have a standard operating procedure on how to do this that's already ready.
Perfect.
Yeah,
you would definitely refer to that. Every machine's different. This one's similar enough to the random machines I've used throughout my life to know. So then what you were asking about how to take the tail of the bobbin, you hold the top thread that you just threaded and then pull this forward, always forward, never backwards. And then it'll catch.
So what you just did, okay. Anytime you see someone demonstrating things and making motion, at least that's always when I get curious to see what exactly that control is doing and what that range of motion is. So can I mess with this real quick?
Yeah.
Right, this is something I can slowly do. So all this is doing is taking that needle up and down, right?
Correct.
That's all it's doing.
Yep.
Okay.
And so now you are ready to sew.
All right, let me change over to this camera. Perfect.
Okay. So I grabbed a little scrap of fabric if you want to do some practice first.
Yeah, I think
Sure.
it's almost always best to have one quick demonstration, right? So if someone's going to do something, I want to watch first and see. So this would be, are there different types of stitches? Like I know, like in welding, there's like lap stitches and like butt stitch. No, I guess I should say butt welds. But are there equivalent types of stitches here? Like what sort of stitch are we doing?
We're doing a straight stitch. Some people will call it a basting stitch. Both are correct, but slightly different.
Yeah.
And then on the front of the machine here, kind of wish you had
I
a
don't
third
have
camera.
Yeah.
There's like zigzags. There's kind of fancy, like scalloped looking ones.
But we're going to be basic straight.
Yeah. You can change the width so that depending on how far away each needle strike is.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot. It looks like these 3 options are buttonholes, which the machine actually just does for you. You just press the foot and take your hands off. Yeah.
Anyway, so show me a stitch and,
Sure.
and talk me through it.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is a back stitch. to put the foot down.
Okay.
And that's located in various different locations. Some larger machines will actually have like a knee that you would push.
Like an external control that you would hit.
Yep.
And so that's like for assembly line type stuff, like you were like doing like a bunch of work.
Yeah.
I see.
So then you would just push down on the foot. And the lighter you push down, the slower you go. And so that gave me a good 3 or 4 stitches. And then I want to press the reverse button to do a back stitch so that the thread tangles in on itself. Otherwise, it would just pull out.
Okay, so there's a switch on this other side, and you're pushing it down.
Yes.
And so we can't see beneath, but there is a foot pedal that she's using, and that's what's controlling our speed.
Yep.
So
I'm going to reverse. I don't know if anyone caught that, but it backed up and then it went forward again after I took my finger off.
Okay, so if we were to draw this, it would be like you went down, and then back, and then back again.
Correct.
Okay, and the purpose of that was to make
to tangle your thread up so that it won't just randomly come undone.
Yeah. So you might notice there's 2 things I'm doing. One is I'm playing the part of a very ignorant person. One, because I want to make sure there's questions, and I'm just like, But also, even when you are learning, I don't think it's wise to make assumptions. I think if you have a good mentor, you should be in a position where you can say, no, why did you do that? And really help them coach you by anytime you have even that little ping of a curiosity. Anyways, so we've done that to hold our thread in.
Correct. And now you can just go straight. And then when you get to a corner, what you can do is, it looks like the needle is down right now. You can lift the foot and just turn your fabric and put the foot back down.
Okay.
So.
It's like scary fast.
I'm pushing it fast. Oops. That might have tangled it.
So, I was just gonna say, so you just tangled it,
I did,
which is a common thing that happens when you're sewing, right? And all you did was rearrange it to untangle it?
Yeah, usually that works. You can also just pull it out and then cut it. Most sewing machines have a cutter on the side. Not all do.
Okay. Otherwise, you just gotta get in there with scissors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to try?
I'm ready to try.
Okay.
Yep, I want to try. So I'm gonna try and do this other edge here. When you're in the trying spot, once again, it's good to guide your mentor through, right? And so what I'm going to do as I'm guiding my mentor through is I'm going to speak through and try and reiterate what I had just heard. So I'm going to tell Sarah what I heard. So,
sure.
Well, real quick, what's the best thing to do? Should I continue where you left off, or does it really matter because it's for practice?
This is just
all right. So I'm gonna carry on at her first start point here, and now I'm gonna let this down, and I gotta remember where.
Back.
In the very back. Okay, so I've put my foot down, and.
Yep. It will be fast if you don't. Most people tend to go much faster because they don't know how much pressure to use.
Okay, so I'm gonna go really light. What are you? Oh, you're just holding the thread.
I'm just holding it so the camera can see.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna. Okay, I'm probably going too slow right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, yeah. Once again, another thing I want to point out is we're gonna make some wallets, but right now we're doing scrap. It's important to practice anything new on scrap, because if this had been my work piece, you've got those added nerves on there, right? Those added nerves of like, oh, I don't want to screw up my work piece. And so that's why it's always, anytime you're doing stuff with hardwood, you always have a limited amount of hardwood because it's expensive. But here, this is just a piece of scrap fabric, and so I'm glad that even if I accidentally go too fast. So I want to go back now.
Yes.
So I'm going to hold my reverse, and do I want to go back the whole length that I just did, probably?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so I'm gonna try and feather it here. Oh. So I noticed that it's kind of carrying the fabric, right? So Yeah, tell me about that.
Sure. So if you remove the fabric,
Yep.
and then, yeah, keep the foot up, remove
Yep.
the fabric.
Oh, remove the fabric. Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
So you can see these little teeth, and I think the other camera might be able to catch them.
Yeah. Where'd my remote go? There we are.
Kind of. These are called feed dogs. I don't know
Nice.
why.
They're called feed huskies at this school.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. So what they actually do, so this is the fabric, these are the feed dogs. It actually like pulls and moves the fabric as the needle strikes.
Okay.
So when you roll this, you
Ah,
can
yeah.
actually watch them do their
Interesting.
like circular.
So what I've just done at the expense of a question is I now have screwed up my progress.
It's okay.
Right? So what do I do? Can I just put it back in there?
Yep.
Or it's not going to get all tangled up?
No, it'll be okay.
Oh my God, that's bizarre. Okay. Because sometimes you just don't know what the robustness of a process is going to be. Okay, so now I have effectively gone over it 3 times, right?
Yeah, you put it exactly where you were.
Yep.
Okay.
So now I can just zoom. Oh man. It's exhilarating to do this. All right, so I'm approaching a corner.
Yep.
So you say I'm gonna pick up my foot,
Put the needle down first.
put the needle down.
Yep.
How do I put the needle down? Manually.
Yes.
All right, so I'm putting the needle down
And
all
then
the way.
Some machines have a button that you can just press and it goes
Yeah.
down.
So I put it down, and that's because the needle is now gonna act as my pivot point, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm gonna pivot, and I'm gonna rotate 90 degrees here, and put the foot back down, and then I can just go, right?
Yeah, you only have like that much room that you're going to sew.
Oh, because I'm going the wrong way. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I want to go
There you
this
go.
way. Thank you. All right. So I'm gonna put this down, and I don't need to do anything there. I can just go.
Yep.
How do I stop? Like I'm done.
You can just do the reverse again.
I need to reverse to back over to hold that in place.
Yep.
And then forward one more time.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. So now I'm
The
gonna pick my.
needle. Yep. The needle is down, so you want to manually
Okay.
pull it up.
So I stopped in a
Don't-
spot.
You always go this way.
Oh, I went the wrong way.
Sorry.
Okay. So you're going counterclockwise. Interesting. All right. And now I can pull this guy out.
It might just need to cycle.
All right. Should I just cut these guys? Use them scissors here?
It's not done cycling, so you want the needle to be in the highest position.
The highest
So
position when
want
you
it to
when you pull your
cycle
piece
all
out.
the way through so that the thread doesn't tangle. I'm not sure what happened.
Okay.
Um,
So we might be in the mystery machine area. So cut it like this,
yeah,
or is it gonna break everything?
it won't.
Okay. Oh.
There you
All right.
go. And usually when that happens, you can just pull whatever out.
All right, so this is our first giveaway. All right, I think, so you have enough material to make 2 wallets?
Yep. I was gonna make one, and then you were gonna do each set.
All right, so Sarah's gonna go ahead and make a wallet, and and she says that she can do it in like 10 minutes, and so I'm super excited.
I'm gonna have like every single step. I'm gonna have you.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it'll take longer. So I'm going to take the front of the wallet and then the zipper. These zippers are strange. I'm not sure what camera you're on. These zippers are strange in that this is actually the wrong side of the zipper and this is the right side of the zipper. And so there's a saying in sewing right sides together and then wrong sides together. So I'm going to do right sides together, which is the yellow part of this fabric, and then the smooth part of the zipper, which most zippers, it's the exact opposite, but on these ones it's not.
Something that is really crucial, especially with sewing projects, is your order of operations, right?
Yeah.
How you're going to go about manufacturing things. Yeah, it's not just for sewing, but it's especially for sewing. You've got a new piece of metal here.
Yes, this is the zipper foot. I don't know this machine super well, but we can try it. So to release a foot, there's a lot of different ways to do it. On this machine, they have just the little foot trigger, so you can
And so
click it back into place.
this is a specific implement for zippers.
Correct. This is a zipper foot.
And why do you need something special?
Because you want to be able to get as close to the zipper as possible. And so this actually has a raised bed, you can see, and then
To facilitate the zipper going underneath.
Yep, a thinned out foot, so that when you slide it, I don't know how to show that, but it sits right like.
So you can guide it right along the side of the zipper.
Yeah, so it's perfectly aligned here, and then there's a little lip right here that can go over the actual zipper part.
Okay.
So to remove the zipper foot on this machine specifically, you just press this trigger. And then I don't know how to adjust the angle of the needle here, but that's okay. And then sometimes...
Wait, the angle of the needle? Like the needles have angles? Isn't it not just straight up and down?
Yes, but on some machines you can like have it shifted.
Like an offset.
Yeah.
I see.
But this one, it looks like it's fine with this zipper foot. And then I don't know if I explained that, but to connect the foot, you just push.
You just kind of mash it down.
Push the foot right on it, and it usually makes a click. Usually. There we go.
All right.
So now it's connected. So I'm going to take my two pieces, the front and then the zipper, and just have it so. And you always want to start as close to the edge as possible.
Okay. Like the needle should be butted up against the back of the
Yes,
edge.
and you can see where the needle goes
Yep.
because there's just a tiny little hole in the machine.
Yeah.
So that's where I want. And you can also start a little in and then just back like further when you do the scuff. No, it didn't. Okay.
Are we gonna have to do that same thing where we backstitch and like forward stitch and backstitch again?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like this zipper foot is actually kind of thin, but that's okay. So I'm going forward and now backwards.
Your fingers are so close to that needle.
Yeah. And you don't have to have them that close.
The reason your fingers are that close is...
This material is really slippery, and this is also slippery, and...
Just to make sure alignment's right.
Yeah.
Right, because one of the things, you're actually selling products, and so you're pretty concerned about the quality control.
Exactly. So since it's so slippery, if I was holding it back here, it might start to shift.
Sure.
Which we don't want. We want it lined right up against it. So.
I should also note that this is kind of like a cooking show in that Sarah's already pre-prepared a bunch of this, so we didn't have to cut things. They have fancy machines that they use at CTUG to do all that cutting.
So that's the first step.
All right, so I need to do the same
And
thing.
then when you open it up, that's where you see the zipper.
Gotcha, because this is going to be folded like that.
Correct.
When it's manufactured.
Yep.
I see.
So you can take a...
All right. Okay, those are not zippers. This is a zipper. So you said your adage was rights to right.
Right sides together.
Right sides together. Okay.
So
this is the right side.
that's the right side.
And this is the right side. So when you say right side, you mean the sides that you want facing the end user, right?
Correct.
Like the outside. Sorry, end user is probably not a term that you would think of, but all right. So, and you're making an adjustment. You're making an adjustment
I'm
on.
making an adjustment because I see that the tension is pretty off here.
So you can tell that by looking at these, and it just doesn't look like a good stitch.
Right.
Compared to like how you can see the name tag here is actually a good stitch.
Right.
Okay.
So I would try to maybe actually increase it.
All right. So what am I doing here? I want to get it as close to the needle as I can. and I want to...
Something else I want to know is at CTUG, we clean on a weekly basis, and so we actually just throw all of our scrap on the floor, and I've noticed...
But we're not at CTUG.
I've noticed I've been doing that, so I need to correct that behavior.
All right. So how do I know, is this line right here lining up with the zipper? There's like, am I perfectly aligned right now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I should be good to go.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do one. Oh, how come it's not moving? What did I just do wrong?
Show me again.
So.
It's moving.
Oh, it's just moving really slow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I increased the tension.
Should I?
It might have.
So the tension is how hard it pulls the thread?
Exactly.
Okay. So now I need, how far should I go with this little back stitch, forward stitch thing? Is it like a 1/4 inch or?
It's usually 3 to 4 stitches.
Okay. Did you guys count?
You did more than, you're good to start.
All right, I'm gonna go backwards then. Oh my Lanta. Okay, so now
That's good.
Now I'm gonna go forward.
Yep.
And now I can just cruise, right?
Yeah. You might want to go slow just because these materials slip against each other.
Okay. Well, if I can go slower. How come it, oh, Sarah.
Okay.
I made a mistake. It's not pulling in.
It's okay. Yeah, it's not.
So, yeah, here's where the anxiety starts coming in, is like, it seems like I could really screw this machine up.
You're not going to.
I'm not going to.
No. So you just take whatever the problem thread is out, which we might have to get.
How much
here.
problem thread do I have?
A
So
bit.
I should have stopped earlier, right? Was that something I did wrong, or do you think it was the thread?
Sometimes they do it. It usually has to do with how close to the corner of a piece of fabric you are, because sometimes the needle will punch through, and if it's too close to the corner, it'll actually punch the fabric through and it'll get caught.
Yeah.
That might have been what happened. I'm not sure.
So another piece of wisdom or food for thought is anytime, you really do got to rely on your spidey sense. And so my spidey sense there was telling me I was doing something wrong, and then Sarah saw I was doing something wrong. So anytime your spider sense is tingling that you're doing something wrong, chances are we're doing something wrong. No, if this happens again, yeah, you should let me do that.
Okay. Do
But-
you want to pull it up?
Okay.
Do you remember?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay. So
So-
you hold the top thread,
Hold the top thread.
and then you pull this forward.
So I don't hold this one at all.
No.
Okay. So this only goes one way.
It should go this way.
The other way. Okay. And I could tell that because the thread was starting to get loose. Now this is going to go through and pull the thread down from under.
Yes. It will pull it up from under. And you should keep going.
I'm good, right?
Do you have it?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh. There you go. And then you just, sometimes you can just take scissors and swipe it
Move
through.
it out. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can put this cover on and we're good to go.
Exactly.
So, all right. So let me do this guy here.
Mm-hmm.
You completely remove my thread.
Yes.
Okay. So I gotta do this all again, which is okay. I gotta have my fingers really close to this machine. And let's try it again.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
This seems much better. So that was like 3 stitches, and now I'm gonna go 3 back, and then now I can just shoot for the moon. Oh shoot, it's stuck again, Sarah. Is there anything I can do to save it right now?
Sometimes if you just pull hard enough.
Pull like
Here,
toward me?
No,
Okay.
here, I can actually take it.
Okay, I'll let you take the reins.
Sure. So sometimes you can just pull it like that way.
Okay, you're just kind of trying to push it through to help overcome a...
Yeah.
Okay.
It might have just been tangled on one of these threads.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you should be good now.
So I'm gonna do this. Do we have any questions from the audience while we're doing this? A question in the back there, Sarah.
And then one, hang on.
Oh,
So you want to make sure this.
My QC was going off here.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
I can take the question though. It's kind of loud.
Sorry.
Okay, the machine's a little loud, so I can't talk over it. But it's to tangle your thread up over itself.
So it doesn't pop out.
Yeah, so that it doesn't pop out. Okay, now you can just go forward. There you go.
All right, now pop the foot back up.
The needle up.
The needle up, because
This
otherwise, other way, man, it's not clockwise. It's weird, but I guess whatever. All right, and then you do this fancy thing where you pull it, and there's this blade.
Yes.
And that, oh shoot, and that's what
The
cuts
blade
it.
feels a little dull, so
A little
it might.
dull. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right. So I got a zipper half sewn on there.
Yep. Okay. Then,
Go ahead.
However, sure. Okay, so the next move is actually the exact same thing. So you take these and fold them so that both of the right sides are showing, and I guess this would technically be wrong sides together. So you can trim your thread, and then...
I can trim my thread, and you're gonna do something. Look at that goober that I accidentally made. But now,
That's fine.
So we adjusted the tension. Does this tension look better? How can I tell if the tension is good or bad?
How loose it is. So this is really loose,
Okay.
and that's tight.
Okay. God, my goober looks really bad.
It's
All
okay.
right.
So that's fine on that stitch, because what we're going to do is fold this, and then it actually just covers it.
Is it gonna get hidden?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, obviously, we probably want to avoid goobers for the sake of avoiding goobers. But
Yeah.
another thing, sorry. Do you have something you want to say?
No, just
Okay. Another thing I want to say, this is really important advice that I wish I could keep for myself, but sometimes I have trouble with it. When you're starting out and you show someone something that you've made, show of hands, who has a tendency to point out their own mistakes?
I think so as well.
Yeah, it's a tendency that you have, and everything will seem better if you just don't, because only maybe experts will point them out, and even if they point it out, they're not going to say anything, because a real expert should appreciate someone pursuing the same craft. And so, keep your mistakes to yourself. You'll be better for it. Anyways.
Okay, so now we're going to do the right sides together exactly like we did on this step. So we're just going to take the two colors with the zipper attached and do exactly what we just did.
We're joining them together.
Yep.
The two pieces.
I'll do that real quick.
So this is almost like origami, what we're doing right now, in terms of taking this, the
I
order of
suppose.
operations, the way things are going to get folded kind of backwards and on top of themselves. Go ahead. You have some extra thread here. Is that bad? That
It
hanging
should
out?
be fine.
Okay. The other thing, Sarah clearly knows what she's doing, and I clearly
actually,
don't.
You're right. It came out of its needle somehow. So
I see.
if something like that happens again, just rethread it.
Rethread it. So 3, 4, 5.
6.
It's always easy, especially if you go on YouTube and you see folks making things that you want to make. Chances are, if they're making a YouTube video on it, they're probably better than you at it. Maybe not, but oftentimes, right? Makers are talented. I don't really have a good method other than It's always unwise to compare yourself to other makers in terms of, wow, I want to be. You can aspire to be where they're at, but don't let it dissuade you from trying to reach there, because it's not always possible to be at a master level with everything.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that again now. So then it opens up like that.
All right, I gotta do that same thing. Something else, does anyone know that oh wait, hold up. So you said right sides together, which is like this?
No. So you have your zipper opened.
Yep.
Open your zipper against the fabric like this.
Open it against the fabric, because this is the
that
right.
whole thing is the correct side now, the right side. And then,
Okay.
And now take what you're back over. What you're doing, and then just like sandwich them together, exactly like that. But leave the zipper open. Sorry. So your zipper is open right now.
Okay. I want this, right?
No. So you have your black. For you, it's black. For me, it's yellow. And the zipper are open.
Yep.
And then you want your back piece.
I want my
like
back
this.
piece.
So hold it
like this.
that way, and now just flip it over. Like.
Just flip it. Oh my goodness, Sarah.
Let me show you.
I promise I have a PhD.
The camera's there. Okay. So this is open, and now you have it like this, which is how it's going to look when it's finished.
Yep.
And so you take it and flip it like that.
Flip it like that.
Yes. But you want the zipper on top, so just
The zipper
rotate
on
the whole
top.
thing.
I see.
There you go.
Because I need to exploit the way the zipper foot works.
Correct. So it's, yeah, exactly like that.
I see. Okay, thank you so much for bearing with me.
It's okay.
Another important thing is making your mentor feel valid and thanking them frequently for dealing with you, because sometimes it's not easy to teach people stuff. So I'm good to give this a shot, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna head back and then forward.
I'm not sure what's going on. The thread keeps coming out though. Do you want to try to?
Okay. So I see some numbers here, and I've got 3, 4, 5, and then 6.
There's that. Yeah, it's
a little
called a
hook.
collar.
Little hook thing.
And then there's a secondary collar right above the needle.
Okay. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
I found that hooking it with your finger.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I want to take this guy, feed it through,
Perfect.
and now we're in.
You have to thread the needle, which some people
I have to put it through that little hole.
Some people are better at it than others.
Can you do that part just for
Yeah.
the sake of time?
And then some machines actually have something that you would pull down and it would thread it for you.
Okay. Do I need to get it wet with my mouth?
Sometimes yes, other times you can just snip the frayed end and that works. There you go.
All right. Let's give it another shot. Thank you for that.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna make sure everything's all sandwiched, aligned. Setting expectations for your first thing. Now what did I do?
I don't know.
This might not have been a good idea to do me lively failing, but should I just keep going?
I'm not sure what happened.
I think I should just try and send it and see if we get more tangled. Will it be able to fix it?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
I can also just continue to show mine too.
It's stressed out.
Okay. I'm not sure
Okay,
what happened.
I think for the sake of time, I'm gonna let Sarah finish her wallet. Because where are we at? We're at 3:52.
Yeah, I'm
So
not sure what happened.
I'm gonna let Sarah finish, and then we can save some time for questions.
That's completely fine.
Sorry about that, everybody. Accepting where you're at as a maker is an important thing. Clearly, you can see it's something I struggle with too, but I just gotta accept that I need more practice. And so, allotting enough time to practice, and accepting that this isn't going to be the best wallet ever. Making is a lot of acceptance. Learning new skills, a lot of acceptance. Okay, so you're switching off your zipper foot.
Yes, so we're done with the zipper now. It's attached. So I'm just going to attach just the standard foot here. And then the next step is to just do a line here to keep it flat.
Okay.
So
that's a second stitch onto the zipper.
yeah, right about there.
So it's always that back stitch thing, because every new thread is like a new point that could get raveled.
Exactly.
Reminder that this is camping equipment, right? They're hiking equipment, and so there's a really big emphasis on that durability.
Exactly.
And so that's.
So now we have the zipper is like sewn down.
Yep.
And then there's this top stitch.
Back a little bit.
Oh, there's this top stitch that just looks nice, but also kind of keeps it flat and comfortable.
Sure.
So trim these. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the back, the black
That
side.
zipper.
Yep.
So there's four total lines that are holding that zipper in.
Correct.
And then all that's left after this is to box things in, right?
Correct. Yeah. Not sure what's going on. Okay, so that part's done. The next part is actually what I consider the hardest part.
Okay.
Because I don't have very nimble fingers.
You have tiny hands.
I know, but I drop things and
Gotcha.
I don't know. So next, we actually take the zipper and we rip it open a little bit.
That gives me anxiety. What happens if it comes apart forever?
I can show you exactly what I'm about to do.
Okay. All right.
So I take the zipper foot now, like the zipper foot that's different from the machine zipper foot. I don't know how to differentiate it. And I kind of toggle it on a tiny bit, and then I evenly, I struggle with this still, so just bear with me. But I push it on, and then once you get it started, you can pull it through. And we want it in the middle just so that we don't accidentally sew over it, because it's metal and it would break the needle.
Okay.
So then we take this, fold it in half.
That is how zippers are born. Is that not a little exciting?
And I had actually never done a zipper that way until I worked at CTUG. I've always been like kind of questioning how to make them easier because I've always struggled with them, but now I know. I know the secret. And then for ours, we put these ribbon loops in so that when you open and close it, you have something to pull. I could only find one clip. I should have brought more. But we want it in between these two stitch lines as evenly as possible. And I'm just going to blindly do that one. But
Blindly do it. Send
this
it.
one I won't. So I'm going to clip it in place like that. So that when we come to sew it, it'll not like shift around anywhere.
Okay.
But again, this one I'm going to do blindly, which I do all the time at CTUG anyways, so I'll be okay.
Because you got skills.
And then I don't know how strong this needle is, so I'm
You're gonna break it.
I'm gonna hop over the zipper. I'm not gonna touch
Strategically go over the zipper. Oh no. Sarah, keep talking. I'll go get a charger. Howdy.
You need any help with anything? He's a bit busy.
He's the soda wallet.
And to go over the zipper, since I don't know if this is a strong needle, I'm actually going to hand crank the next few stitches. And then,
This is going over the zipper.
yeah, lift the foot, and then I'm just gonna push until I'm after the zipper. And then hand crank the next few. Okay, until I'm confident I've missed it. Thing. I'm not sure what's going on with this machine.
You should have brought one of your big fancy ones from work.
They are 600 pounds.
Literally?
They are.
Oh
yeah.
boy.
Okay, so I'm not sure what happened there, but it'll be okay.
So if I wanted to get into sewing, would this machine be a good starter machine?
I mean, I would get a brand new machine or one that you know, like, I would maybe have your mom give you a machine.
Yeah.
Because she takes care of her machines and knows them, where this one might have been used by students who don't know how to sew, and so it's giving us issues that most machines won't give.
Gotcha. You got to be careful. Amazon reviews will get you, and that's why, once again, I think it's important to connect yourself with a mentor who knows a little bit more about the skill, so they can make tool recommendations. Because if you just rely on internet reviews, yeah. Anyways, sorry.
Okay, so I'm at a corner, and I'm just gonna do that pivot, and then back down. And back up.
This is the last part, right?
So another thing, that ribbon, I took this clip off, but I'm holding down the ribbon with my finger here. Okay, and then now we're at the zipper again. So I'm gonna hop over it.
Does anyone know what I should have started with that I did not start with? Someone in this room better know, otherwise we're all failing. Do you know what I should have started asking about?
No.
Safety,
Oh.
right? Like, how could I potentially hurt myself doing this? What can I do? Clearly, people have been sewing for ages, and you don't have to really have any special personal protective equipment, but what are some strategies that I can use to not hurt myself?
Some machines, especially industrial machines that are like, some of them are hydraulic powered.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah. So at a previous job, I was also a seamstress in Saginaw, and I don't know if you can see that scar right there. I actually punched through my thumb.
That is terrifying.
That's something to avoid. But yeah, just keeping your fingers out of the way.
Beware of where the...
I get close. I probably shouldn't.
It's an experience thing.
Yeah. So it looks pretty messy, but that's okay. So the next step is to add bias tape to hide the seams, and also a second layer of stitching just helps
For
with
robustness.
strength. Yep. So I'm gonna fold this bias tape over.
So this is aesthetic and for robustness.
Durability.
Okay.
Also, none of CTUG's products are waterproof, but it's water resistant.
Gotcha.
And the more you can hide these seams with anything,
The more that adds to that factor. Okay.
Exactly. And also, it just looks pretty.
Good.
I'm gonna actually just
Jumping over the zipper again.
hand stitch right here.
So hand stitch, so you're not using the pedal at all, you're only using the thing on the right. And
Yeah.
that's how you can go ultra slow for that granular kind of control.
And I can push it. The feed dogs,
Disengage.
they don't, but I also lifted the foot up to do that.
Gotcha.
So I have a lot more control of how I push the fabric through.
So it might have been hard for you guys to notice, but when the foot is down, things are captive in there, right? Things are very much captive.
I'm gonna have to do it a little more because I think the foot isn't happy being on the zipper at all. So that's good, hopefully. Okay, so I do that one.
You get a little knot there
I
right by the
see
needle.
that.
So, thank you all for staying so far. I'm going to let you know that we are going to give this wallet away, right, at the
Yeah.
end. It's a little problematic, but that's okay. We'll give this one away too if anyone wants it.
Oh dear, that's rough.
Uh-oh. It's not passing QC. Once again,
It would not pass QC at all.
so Sarah is pretty used to a much more expensive, much more robust machine.
Yeah. Our machines are about 600 pounds. Some of them are powered through hydraulics, and they cost about $8,000.
Yeah.
Where a machine like this was maybe like 120.
That said, I think if possible, you want to try and learn on the tools that you are going to have available to you, right? Because if I were to go to Sarah's work, though I'm sure they'd be fine if I went to her work to do more sewing,
They sure would.
learning on something that's really nice can sometimes be problematic. And so make sure you're learning where you're actually going to be at.
Right. And then you can go to Walmart today and buy like an $80 machine, and it's probably going to do everything you want it to do. So my personal machine at home was it was the Amazon deal of the day, and I like adore that machine. It's in some ways stronger than the ones that I use at CTUG, depending on the materials.
Yeah.
So
Well, luckily I'm married to you, and so I have access to that machine.
you do, yeah.
And we can use this one at the Alley.
And then there's a secondary one at the Alley as well,
There's also a quilting machine at the Alley.
which I really want one.
Yeah, well, you
I
can come to the
don't
Alley
have
too.
Dear. Okay. Usually you aren't going to run into as many issues as we have today. Okay. And then I'm gonna lift my
Manually
foot.
go over the zipper.
And you can stitch right through the zipper.
If you got a really beefy machine, you just
If-
don't want to break that needle right now, because that would be embarrassing.
Yeah. And also they make denim needles, which is the strongest needle. And I don't know what kind of needle.
If
this
you were
is.
fixing your pants, that's the kind of needle you'd want to use, hence the name, right?
Correct.
So that's really something to look at and consider. Is how many folks have ripped pants? Right. You can totally save a little cash by, it's called darning them, right?
Yes.
By darning your own pants. So you can buy your own denim. You can go to Walmart, buy your own denim thread, and darn your own pants to fix them.
You can.
And all it really is just going back and forth.
Yep. You would just go forward, reverse, So the rip, say the rip is right here, you would want to do it this way to
Yep.
close the rip up.
90 degrees to the rip.
Yeah.
I know that because I've watched you fix lots of my pants.
Yeah. Every few months. Okay. And this is the last stitch. Should have brought my personal machine, I think.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I thought it'd be useful to learn on the Alley machine.
Okay. And now we're done.
So, you're gonna cut your threads, all this aesthetic stuff,
And
well, and functional, so they don't get caught on things, right?
yeah. So this one, don't tell people, whoever gets this one, don't tell people you got it at CTUG because
It looks really bad.
yeah, it's not ideal. So to open up this, because you'll notice this is closed and we need to
Inside
turn it
out.
inside
That's so
out.
cool.
So you actually can just push the zipper like that, and then the rest will just rip
Tear
open.
open.
Yeah. And then to turn something inside out, it's best to do the pivots first. So I'm just pinching like that with my fingers, which I sometimes struggle with because I've got little fingers. And then just taking your thumb in and kind of pushing the corner as best as possible. And then the tops are a lot easier because there isn't extra material there. It'll just pop through. Here again.
And then we can do the ceremonial zip.
Yep. So then actually there is one more step, and it's just the zipper pull.
Ah.
So you just, I pre-tied this, but you just push it through the top here. So it's like that. And then you push it through the bottom, like bigger hole, and then just loop the knot through and give it a tug. And then there you go.
Let's give Mrs. Oberloier a round of applause.
So, I don't know if you want.
Well, yeah, so trying to think of some closing remarks to do with making, because I want to leave 10 minutes left for questions here.
Sure.
Yeah, so just to kind of recap, I think one of the most important things is finding a mentor for a new skill. And if not, well, then find some good videos on YouTube. But finding that mentor is crucial because there's a lot of senses that you're going to undergo when doing a new skill, like, oh, it doesn't feel right, it's vibrating, it sounds weird, right? Paying attention to those and having someone in real time being able to help you can be really invaluable and accelerate that process. As you saw, I was probably almost asking questions at an annoying level. I hope I didn't annoy you too much. But once again, if you can find a good mentor, those questions won't be annoying. And okay, I want to leave some more time. Does anyone have any questions while we have a master seamstress in this room?
Why do you always want to pull the dial forward? Why can you not go backwards?
It will tangle the bobbin thread up because when it goes
It's
through
loosening the thread, right?
Yes, but if you already caught the bobbin thread, it's like already up here now instead of like down in the mechanism. And when you pull it this way, it tries to undo that, which it can't because the tension has already been pulled. So and that might be some of the issues we were having here.
I kept going backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
that very well could.
It's
have been the
weird
issue.
because it's like you think of like tightening a screw, but you're actually like loosening it.
Yeah, and you might have noticed that when I'm trying to like pull it and it's not coming out, I would like do this back and forth. So there's a little bit of play. You just don't want the needle to punch through.
You don't want to do a revolution.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Another question.
Is there a difference in how the needle works in one of these machines versus like one of the multicolor embroidery machines that like for patterns and logos and things? Or is that kind of the same concept?
It's probably the same concept. I've never actually used an embroidery machine, so I don't know. But I imagine it's the same. Yeah, I unfortunately
It might
don't
be.
know.
I'd imagine it might be finer, right, or something like that.
Well, the thread would be finer. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
industrial thread. I don't know how
Yeah.
I've never used an embroidery machine.
Had to phone a friend for that question.
Do they do multiple colors at once?
Usually not at once. It's
Oh,
one color over
okay.
top of another color.
Okay, yeah, in that case, it's probably exactly the same.
Yeah.
So you can actually get a quilting foot. I wonder if this one has one. No. You can get a quilting foot that is like spring loaded. So it kind of bounces on your fabric, and what that does, you turn your feed dogs off, which usually there's a lever somewhere back here, to turn your feed dogs off, and And so instead of doing that like motion, they just are set down and don't touch your fabric at all. And so the bouncing foot actually like goes like that, and you can take this and just kind of go, like some people are really good at it, I'm not, but you can like write your name in cursive.
So you can go all sorts of weird ways.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But that's what an embroidery machine does, but a machine like this, the most you can get out of that is just the foot.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any questions for me about picking up new maker skills? Yo.
If you're comfortable with that answering, how do you practice humility? I think you could reflect this on the workplace too, but how do you practice humility living with a competent maker?
How do you practice humility? Well, it's very hard for me because I have a habit of putting myself down for almost everything. And so when you say humility, you mean like
Both directions, the me and
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty easy being married.
Right. Well, that's step one. You want whoever is teaching you to be, like, you want to feel comfortable with them. And so, like, you and I would do it, perhaps, like, you might not want, like, a parent or, like, an older sibling if they tend to not be so nice. So I wouldn't go asking them to teach you. I would honestly just stick to, like, YouTube and that, depending on the dynamics. But like a married couple, hopefully you're like healthy and comfortable with each other. And so I have no problem like just helping Shane. If he made a mistake, say, okay, we're gonna cut this out. I brought this, we didn't end up using it. We could have, but just based on time, I just wanted to make the one. But this here, and I can actually do it to this one. So the seam ripper here, you can just pull a few, this really tight tension, but you pull a few out. Is that, oh, that camera's not on.
That's okay.
Okay, so you pull a few out until you get like maybe a 1/4 inch, and then you put it through, I don't know where I went here from that question, but, and then you just pull it like that. And so that's a seam ripper. I don't know where I was going with that. But I think, yeah, just being comfortable with who is teaching you and letting them know, this is my first time, give me a little bit of
Well, yeah,
grace.
and I think specifically like in our household, I don't really think we're ever flexing on each other. Like it's just kind of, I think it's,
yeah.
I suppose if you're married to someone who's always flexing on you, like not playfully, like I'll like flex my Pokemon skills or things along those lines, like that happens. But yeah, I think that's more of a relationship building question than anything.
Yeah. And I don't know what makes a healthy marriage, but I feel like it's not that.
Yeah, but just accepting, like I said, the whole thing about learning new maker skills is accepting where you're at and accepting that you've got practice. And so the same thing is, I've accepted that Sarah's probably always going to be the best sewer, and Sarah's probably accepted that I'm probably always going to be the best snowblower, right? Like,
Fair.
those sorts of things just happen, and it's all about acceptance, I suppose. Does that help answer your question at all?
You can apply that well to the workplace too.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, usually you would be hired in your specific role. Especially in a workplace, no one is going to mind you asking questions. At least that's what I've found. Maybe it's
And if it gets bad, then you might be in a hostile work environment.
perhaps.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would prefer you ask questions than do it wrong and have to spend however long redoing it. So.
Yeah. Any other questions about general skill acquisition, maker skill acquisition? All right. So I've got 3 trivia questions for stickers, and we've got a billion stickers, so it turns out that we'll just be able to give them out. But we're going to do trivia questions anyway. So first trivia question is, what is the mechanism that causes the fabric to get fed through? Does anyone remember what the mechanism was? What was it? It's feed dogs. Have a chicken. Oh God, that didn't go anywhere. Have a chicken trapper sticker. All right. So The next question is, does anyone remember the term for what holds the thread underneath here? Yo.
Bobbin?
It's, huh?
Sick, you can't get me a pronunciations.
Bobbin. You raise your hand, so you get a sticker anyway. All right. In the last question, something that was probably the bane of my existence for this video, or in-person demo, was, what direction did I say this has to go? Yo.
Counterclockwise.
Has to go
Yeah.
clock? Counter. Has to go. I'm still forgetting. Yeah, it's counter.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you get 2
Toward-
stickers. Give one
toward
to a
you
friend.
Is what I say.
All right. And Sarah, you get to decide who gets the crappy wallet.
I don't.
You don't want anyone to have the wallet because it has no
No, I
problems.
don't care.
Okay.
If- I don't know who all wants it, but
You get to decide.
you get to decide.
I get to
don't
decide?
know.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Why don't we pass it
I
around?
actually
Go ahead and
have-
pass it around.
I have another one too somewhere.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna stop recording, but we can
This
still
one's a lot bigger, but
stick
if you
around.
just want to look at one.
Bye everybody. Oh, hold up. So next week there will not be one because I have some big fancy meeting I have to go to. But the week after, so I believe that's October 3rd or October 4th. It's not next Thursday, but the following Thursday. There will be another session, and that one's going to be on 3D printing and prototyping. So considering 3D printing in your prototyping process and some ways to kind of help that expedite things. So once again, that is going to be the 3rd of October. So thank you all so much.